The road stretched wide, silent under the moonless sky. Only the glow of the headlights cut through the dark, reflecting off the endless rice paddies. It was nearly 4 a.m., that precarious hour when fatigue threatens the mind. Dr. Samuel Wu and his wife, Dr. Anna Wu, dozed in the back seat of a 7-seater van, while Anna's younger cousin, Irene, rested against the window. Up front, their driver, Bao, rubbed his eyes, fighting the lull of the lonely highway. They were medical professionals from New Hemlock County Hospital. Sam and Anna were star physicians, known for their kindness and expertise. Irene was just finishing college, tagging along to help manage some errands in the city. It was supposed to be a straightforward overnight trip, depart from Hemlock County after finishing a late shift, drive the quiet roads, and arrive by morning for an early convention in the metropolis. But in an instant, everything changed. Bao felt a momentary lapse, his vision blurred. The wheel slipped from his sweaty palms, and the van veered. The brakes screeched, cutting through the sleeping countryside. Then the vehicle skidded off the road, slicing through the roadside weeds before plunging into the deep, waterlogged rice fields. The van flipped once, then twice, water rushing in. By the time dawn broke, no one inside that submerged vehicle remained alive. Villagers discovered the wreck at daybreak. Authorities arrived. Local news cameras swarmed. The tragedy made headlines across the region. 2 kind-hearted doctors among 4 dead in terrible crash. Patients mourned. Colleagues wept. Dr. Sam and Dr. Anna had been pillars of Hemlock County, their generosity unmatched. That they met such a sudden watery end felt unbearably cruel. They were buried in a large, emotional funeral. Flowers carpeted the caskets, and grief shook the entire county. People recounted stories of how Dr. Anna once treated a penniless father for free, or how Dr. Sam had volunteered extra hours at the rural clinic. Everyone agreed, the world was dimmer without them. Not long after the funeral, rumors started trickling in. Truck drivers plying that same lonely stretch at odd hours claimed they saw shapes by the water's edge. For indistinct figures, heads bowed, as if searching for something. Many shook off the sightings as illusions in the early morning mist. But it persisted. Multiple drivers gave nearly identical accounts. Word spread, and local superstitions flared. Concerned residents erected a small roadside shrine at the crash site. They placed fruit, incense, and a plaque inscribed with the words, "For the wandering souls, rest in peace." Candlelight flickered each evening, hoping to guide the spirits away from aimless wandering. For a time, these sightings diminished, as though the restless ghosts found a semblance of acknowledgement. Yet that was only the beginning. At Hemlock County Hospital, where Sam and Anna had worked side by side, staff and patients began reporting uncanny events in the weeks following the accident. First, there was the matter of Dr. Sam's old office. A typically mundane space on the 3rd floor, now sealed out of respect and scheduled to be reassigned eventually. A cleaning lady named Mai was one of the few with permission to enter and keep it tidy. One sunny afternoon, she emerged pale-faced, insisting she'd felt a deep chill in the otherwise warm office. "I found a blank sheet of paper on his desk," Mai whispered to a coworker in the break room, eyes darting nervously. It was covered front to back, with that little doctor's stamp, Sam's name stamp. Like someone had stamped it repeatedly, dozens of times. But how could that be possible? The stamp was locked away in the supply closet after the funeral, wasn't it? The coworker frowned, unsettled. Maybe someone played a prank? Mai shook her head vigorously. No one jokes about Dr. Sam like that. Everyone here loved him. And the chill, it was real. Like the air turned icy, even though it's midsummer. I swear, something was there. Rumors spread. A nurse named Tiffany swore she saw Dr. Anna's silhouette gliding down the hallway near the pediatric ward after midnight. I blinked, and she vanished. I thought I recognized her posture, her hair, but she died weeks ago. Another nurse overheard a soft voice in the ICU at closing time, whispering instructions on how to administer medication, sounding uncannily like Anna's gentle counsel. No one wanted to speak ill of the departed, especially not such beloved ones. Many staff members reasoned, if they're still here, they can't be harmful. They were kind in life, presumably kind in death. Nonetheless, an undercurrent of fear and awe hung in the corridors, as though the hospital's usual bustle masked a quiet, ghostly presence just out of sight. More strangeness surfaced at the large 2-story home Dr. Sam and Dr. Anna had shared. Anna's older sister, Paula, had inherited the place, at least until the legalities were sorted. Paula considered renting it out or selling it eventually. In the meantime, the house needed upkeep, so she hired a series of housekeepers to keep it in order. One such housekeeper was Ms. Lean, a middle-aged widow from the neighboring town. She arrived optimistically, drawn by the good pay. But within a month, Ms. Lean handed in her resignation, shaken to the core. Late one evening, Ms. Lean recounted her experience to Paula. "I was folding laundry in the main bedroom. The room used to be Dr. Anna's, right? Suddenly, I felt as though someone was standing behind me. I turned around. No one was there. But a moment later, the neatly folded clothes were back on the bed, all undone, as if a pair of unseen hands rummaged through them. I froze. Then everything just looked normal again. I didn't imagine it." Paula pressed her lips together, uncertain. She'd already heard from Ms. Lean's predecessor that lights flicked on and off at odd hours, or that footsteps sounded on the second floor even when no one was home. Ms. Lean quickly left the job after that encounter, refusing to return for any price. Soon, word got around that the doctor's house might be haunted. Paula tried not to believe in such tales. She cherished her sister and brother-in-law's memory. They wouldn't become malevolent spirits, she argued. Still, an unshakable sense of otherworldliness loomed in that building. The hush of the hallway, the faint echo of a distant door slamming with no breeze to blame. Undeterred, Paula kept trying new housekeepers. Each one left within weeks, claiming unnerving phenomena. Furniture shifting by itself, faint voices calling from locked rooms, or half-folded clothes whisked onto a closet shelf. As if, one caretaker whispered, someone was making sure we handled everything just right. Months drifted by, and the community's initial grief turned to stoic acceptance. People spoke of Dr. Sam and Dr. Anna with fondness, though an occasional story about their spirits would re-emerge. Paula wrestled with guilt. Did her sister or brother-in-law need something undone, some last wish unfulfilled? She confided in Ms. Bien, a local spiritual practitioner. "All I want is for them to rest peacefully," Paula sighed, clasping her hands around a warm cup of tea in Ms. Bien's modest consultation room. Is there a reason they linger?" Ms. Bien's expression grew solemn. When spirits remain, it can be due to sudden, tragic death, like that accident. Their souls may be confused, not realizing they've passed on, or feeling something is incomplete. They might appear at the hospital they loved, or the roadside where it happened, or the home they left behind. Paula closed her eyes. "So what do I do? People see them at the hospital, in the house, even at the crash site. Everyone says they're not exactly malicious, but it's unsettling." Ms. Bien nodded. "A ceremony for guidance, perhaps. Let them know they are remembered, their good deeds carried on. Offer prayers, encourage them to move forward." Thus the plan formed. Paula would organize a memorial ceremony at the roadside shrine, then gather close family and hospital colleagues for a special blessing in the doctor's old home, hoping to gently persuade the spirits to find peace. Almost a full year after the accident, on the eve of the tragedy's anniversary, tensions ran high. The hospital staff decided to hold an official commemoration for Dr. Sam and Dr. Anna in the main lobby. They'd unveil a plaque in their honor. Meanwhile, Paula scheduled a small ritual at the roadside shrine at sunrise, and an evening gathering at the doctor's house, inviting a monk to perform prayers. Yet in the days leading up, more incidents flared at the hospital. One young intern, Mei Ling, returned from a midnight shift trembling, claiming she heard Dr. Anna's voice instructing her how to treat a boy with a rare allergic reaction. "I was alone in the pediatric ward, about to give the child the wrong dose. Then I heard her whisper, 'Check the chart, carefully.' The correction saved the patient's life." Mei Ling insisted it was no hallucination. The accident site also erupted with sightings. A truck driver nearly drove off the road, spooked by glimpsing four silhouettes stepping forward from the watery field. He said their mouths moved in silent pleas. He braked, swerved, then realized no one was physically there. News traveled fast. Some believed these restless spirits were turning desperate, seeking closure before the anniversary. Others speculated that Dr. Sam and Dr. Anna, still caring even in death, lingered to help in emergencies or correct medical errors. But overshadowing it all was a sense that some final push was needed to lay them to rest. On the morning of the accident's anniversary, Paula drove out to the place where Sam and Anna had perished. A group of nearly 20 people accompanied her, relatives, old patients, a few hospital colleagues. They stood near the watery ditch, the small shrine set with incense, flowers, and a painted sign reading, "In memory of your kindness." As the first sunlight crept over the horizon, a hush fell. The temple monk, Venerable Kwa, led the prayers, chanting softly in the crisp air. The smoke of incense curled upward, carrying murmured blessings. Paula felt tears prick her eyes. She sensed Sam and Anna's presence, as though they hovered just beyond sight. A gentle breeze ruffled the grass. The watery fields glimmered with reflected daylight. Venerable Kwa's voice rang clear. We honor those who gave their lives to healing. May your spirits find comfort, no longer bound by sorrow or regret. Candles flickered. Behind a cluster of reeds, the watchers imagined they saw fleeting shapes, like 4 individuals bowing in silent gratitude before receding. Then it was done. People drifted away, leaving the shrine glowing with fresh offerings. Paula lingered, hugging her coat against the morning chill. I hope they heard us, she whispered. I hope they can move on. That afternoon, the hospital's main lobby filled with staff, patients, and local reporters, all paying tribute to Dr. Sam and Dr. Anna's legacy. A large photograph of the couple was placed on an easel. Flowers surrounded it, a testament to how beloved they had been. Dr. Tran, the hospital director, stepped to the microphone. Today, he said, voice trembling, we remember 2 of our finest. Their compassion knew no bounds. Their skill saved countless lives. We will never forget Dr. Sam Wu's dedication to surgery, nor Dr. Anna Wu's gentle guidance in pediatrics. Applause rippled. Tears glistened on many cheeks. Then Dr. Tran unveiled a polished plaque. It featured Sam and Anna's names, an engraved stethoscope motif, and the words, "Your devotion endures in every heartbeat we mend." The crowd bowed heads, some quietly sobbing. In that poignant hush, a breeze seemed to stir the lobby. Strange, because there were no open windows. Several staffers later insisted they felt a comforting, invisible presence. Nurse Tiffany swore she glimpsed a fleeting outline of a woman in a white coat, smiling near the plaque before fading. Another nurse, David, said he felt an unseen hand pat his shoulder. The sense of sorrow and fear eased, replaced by warmth. As the ceremony ended, many walked away believing the spirits were truly at peace with their tribute. That evening, a final ritual took place in the living room of Sam and Anna's old home. Paula had decorated the space with lilies and jasmine, their favorite flowers. She also arranged an altar in front of their framed wedding photo, lighting candles. The same monk, Venerable Kwa, came to recite blessings, accompanied by Ms. Bien, the spiritual practitioner. A few close relatives joined, along with a handful of old friends. For the house staff who had once fled in fear, this ceremony was both relief and closure. Ms. Lean, the caretaker who had witnessed strange rummaging of clothes, sat in the corner, hands clasped, wanting to see if the restless presence would be soothed. Venerable Kwa rang a small bell, his voice gentle. Sam Wu, Anna Wu, beloved doctors, beloved siblings, beloved friends. Your home awaits your final farewell. You have served so many in life. May these prayers guide you to rest, freed from earthly burdens. As he chanted, Paula felt a shift. The air thickened, then lightened. Even Ms. Lean's hair stood on end, noticing an intangible stirring. The flickering candles elongated shadows on the walls. It felt like the entire house breathed, letting out tension stored for months. Suddenly, a floorboard creaked overhead. Everyone froze. It was as if footsteps trod gently across the second floor. Paula's heart hammered, but rather than terror, she felt an overwhelming sadness. Sam? Anna? Are you listening? She silently prayed. Ms. Bien sprinkled purified water in each room, reciting lines to invite any lingering spirits to ascend to a higher plane. The overhead noises subsided. The candle flames steadied. A soft breeze whooshed down the stairwell, carrying a faint, comforting smell, like the distinct aroma Anna's favorite lavender perfume. Paula's eyes brimmed with tears. She sensed a quiet goodbye, as though Sam and Anna themselves had drifted through the corridor one last time. The presence that had unsettled so many housekeepers seemed to vanish, replaced by calm. The ceremony concluded with the final chime of Venerable Kwa's bell. In the following days, the haunting accounts dwindled. The roadside shrine stood quietly, but no truck drivers claimed to see the silhouettes. The hospital staff no longer reported chilling phenomena in Dr. Sam's old office. The house where Paula lived, still deciding how to handle the property, felt normal. No more half-folded clothes on their own. Ms. Lean, though still wary, visited to confirm the difference. "It's like a heaviness lifted," she told Paula, relieved. Patients, too, continued to revere Sam and Anna, but as a cherished memory rather than a restless presence. Nurse Tiffany once confided in Paula, "It's almost like they gave us one final wave at that memorial ceremony, ensuring we'd carry on their compassion." On the first anniversary's tail end, Paula took flowers to the couple's grave. She felt a breeze rustle the stems. Closing her eyes, she imagined Sam's gentle smile and Anna's soothing voice. "Thank you for letting us say goodbye properly," she thought. Though no one saw Sam or Anna's spirits again, rumors persisted about intangible guardian angels at the hospital. Call it superstition, call it devotion. Doctors who nearly misdiagnosed a patient would later recall hearing a soft double-check that chart. Or a nurse might sense a fleeting presence in the pediatric ward, guiding her hands during an emergency. True or not, those quiet miracles felt like echoes of Sam and Anna's altruistic essence. Thus, life moved forward in Hemlock County, shaped by the memory of two doctors who had dedicated everything to healing. Even in death, they lingered, not in malevolence, but in a longing to finish their care for the living. Only after the living recognized them, honored them, did they finally rest. Meanwhile, the townsfolk learned that closure might not come swiftly after tragedy, but with faith, kindness, and reverent respect, even the most restless spirits can find their way home. One final story made the rounds a few months later, whispered among hospital interns. A brand new doctor, Dr. Elise, was working late in the empty corridor on the third floor. Exhausted, she leaned against the wall, feeling tears threaten after a harrowing shift in the ER. She murmured, "I can't do this. I'm not strong enough." She claimed that an unseen voice whispered by her ear, "Courage. You are not alone." Startled, she looked around. No one was there. Yet it felt profoundly comforting. She did not flee in fear. Instead, she steadied her breath, overcame her despair, and resumed her duties. When Dr. Elise confided that story to a senior nurse, the nurse merely smiled, tears in her eyes. "That could have been Dr. Anna or Dr. Sam," she said softly, "still watching over us from wherever they now reside." The rumor gave the staff quiet hope. Even though Sam and Anna's physical apparitions no longer roamed the corridors, perhaps in times of dire need, the echoes of their compassion lingered. Hemlock County carried on, forging new successes in medical care. People still paused by the roadside shrine, the hospital plaque, and the empty home, reminders that some spirits ascend only after ensuring their love leaves a lasting mark on the world.